Hold up. Now, before you go ahead and hit that dislike button or run over to the comment section and say, Justin, you're flexing your expensive lineup, hear me out, okay? Each and every one of these vehicles was earned during their respective events. If I didn't earn it naturally, I probably used maybe Golden Eagles during the respective event to acquire them. So none of my actual Gaijin coin or money was used to actually acquire these vehicles, nor did I ask Gaijin to give them to me, just to clarify some things. So now that we got that out of the way, let's begin. Now, I understand there are certain individual vehicles whose total overall price amounts to more than that of this current lineup. However, there are very few lineups in War Thunder whose total amounts is over 1,000 Gaijin coin, while at the same time being able to be utilized efficiently at its respective battle rating, especially when it comes to the higher tier environment. So as of the time of this video's recording, the entire lineup you are seeing amounts to a total value of 1,159.77 Gaijin coins, which translates equally into USD. So you can play with that number in your own local currency if you so would choose to. So with that being said, let's start off with one of my personal favorite vehicles, the FJ4B VMF. Now, this vehicle was introduced in update 1.79 as part of the 2018 Operation Summer event, and it was dropped as a redeemable coupon. Some of its main attributes is that it does carry up to 5 bullpup missiles, it can carry up to 2 air-to-air missiles, and a good amount of bombs should you decide to use the more traditional dumb drop bombs. However, at battle rating 8.7, this vehicle is even highly efficient at a higher tier, making this a very desirable vehicle on par with even the squadron vehicle that is the A4E. Now, as of the time of this video's recording, the vehicle does sell for 340 Gaijin coins, so if you want to pick that up, it's going to cost you quite a bit. So up next, we have the Merkava Mk.1. Now, this vehicle was introduced in update 1.87 as one of the top reward vehicles for the Battlefield Engineer event. It was a crafting event that required a fairly extensive amount of time to complete, as it was one of the earlier events, especially when it comes to the crafting events. Now, some of the main attributes is it is or was the first Merkava to be introduced in War Thunder at battle rating 8.7, making this vehicle extremely unique at battle rating 8.7. It does currently sell in the market for about 174.99 Gaijin coin. However, I don't really expect that number to stay like that, seeing that this vehicle is slowly dwindling in, well, the amount of coupons available to the public. And up next, we have the Merkava Mk.2B. Now, this vehicle was introduced in update 1.95 for the Operation Frost Winter event. It's a fairly straightforward event that only required a small amount of specific tasks to be completed, and it wasn't nearly as difficult as the previous crafting event that led to the Mk.1. Some of the main attributes of the vehicle is it's a better Mk.1. It has composite armor, or composite screens, excuse me, which do mitigate against low-grade heat FS, heat grenades, etc. It does also have a slightly better engine and transmission, and to top it off, it also gets a thermal sight along with more smoke grenades at battle rating 9.0. As of the time of this video's recording, it does sell for about 108.99 Gaijin coin, and I don't really see that number dropping anytime soon either. In fact, probably for none of these vehicles. And up next, we have the third of the bunch, the Merkava Mk.3D. Now, this vehicle was introduced in update Raining Fire, and it was one of the top reward vehicles for the Operation Strategist event. It was a pretty straightforward yet sort of time-intensive crafting event, much like the previous ones we have already spoken about. Some of its main attributes is that it does have a much better engine, a 120mm gun shooting one of the best APFSDS rounds in the game, right below the DM53 fired by the Leopard 2A6, which is the M322. It does penetrate up to 625mm of RHA at 0 meters at 10 degrees, and again is one of the more top performing APFSDS. It also does have slightly better armor, and it does sit at battle rating 10.0, whereas it was initially introduced at battle rating 10.3. So at 10.0, especially in a full down tier, this vehicle is exceptionally well performing, and it currently sells on the player market for 156 Gaijin coin. And up next is the F11F1, introduced and update starfighters for the Operation Summer event in 2020. Thankfully, it was another straightforward event which just required you to collect a certain amount of stars in order to grab this vehicle, and along with that, you were able to also unlock the Blue Angel skin, which is visible to the entire community. Some of the main attributes of the vehicle is that it is a 9.0 aircraft with an afterburner, does have 4 A9B air-to-air missiles, which aren't exactly the best, but in a good down tier, you're able to utilize those quite efficiently, especially against those bombers. Not that I would advocate for it, but to each their own. And it also does feature excellent energy retention and is really fast for its battle rating. So at 9.0, it's an incredibly solid aircraft, and it currently sells on the market for 42.79 Gaijin coins. Now, I understand that's not quite a bit compared to the rest of the vehicles. It was more of a filler than anything else, but I couldn't help myself to just not add this vehicle in this current lineup. And last, but most certainly not least, the M60 AMBT, also introduced in the Starfighters update during the World War Mode Season 3 Road to the West. Now, this was a fairly difficult vehicle to acquire, as it did require the player to participate in the actual event itself, which many may even say was a little bit unbalanced or otherwise unfair. Now, those who were able to acquire the coupon were in some of the most top-end squadrons. I believe it was about the top 100 or the top 50 or so, or 100 players that were only able to acquire the actual physical coupon, as the vehicle itself, once unlocked, attached immediately to your account. Hence its incredibly high price tag currently on the player market. Now, some of the attributes of this vehicle is it does have an incredibly efficient amount of firepower with its KEW APFSDS, which is pretty much on par with the M1A2 Abrams, but it sits at battle rating 9.7. It does have Gen 2 thermal sights, a Gen 2 CITV, and a 25mm top-mounted gun that is incredibly powerful against low-flying aircraft. Helicopters can knock over trees and other obstacles, though both of the top-mounted guns are controlled by the commander. So if you lose a commander, you lose both those top guns. And it currently sells on the player market for 337 Gaijin coin, which is a fairly high price tag, though it does make sense given how unique the vehicle is currently. So there it is. That was the 1200 Gaijin coin lineup, and I understand there are certain vehicles whose single value overtakes the entirety of this lineup's value. However, when it comes down to just overall efficiency for its respective tiers, you really can't go wrong with this 10.0 lineup. And now, that's where I leave it to you guys. Feel free to let me know down in the comment section below. What do you guys think? Is this something that you do have? Perhaps you have these lineups, or maybe you want to go ahead and share yours. Better yet, you're more than welcome to do so, not just only in the comment section, but also in the Discord. If you guys want to go ahead and hit that up, feel free to check it out. Jump over to the screenshot section and feel free to drop those images and even tag me if you would like to. And if you guys happen to have enjoyed everything, feel free to drop a like down below and even consider subscribing to the channel, as it does support me tremendously. And with all of that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy everything, and I'll see you guys not only in the next video or even the streams, but in War Thunder itself. Until next time.